talks about and kind of how it helped his reputation and the wholesale of what you go through. But this is just a clip of it that I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully it helps with understanding some of the marketing items that we're doing and how it's going to help your site. Shelby, I'm not sure if any of this sound's coming through.
We have to drop the link. I don't think the sound's going to go through, Thomas.
No worries. Well, we'll put the link in the description. Really, it's if you guys want to watch it, it really kicks off in about 1 minute, and it's Ryan talking about how reputation is just built off of your brand and everything that you put into it, and it's taking that extra time to make those connections, go to the networking dinners, go to the happy hours, talking with people, and really presenting yourself the right way in your brand, and that's going to help your reputation. So I'll put the link in the box at the end here, but really encourage you all to go watch that. I think it helps kind of tie in, like I said, what we're doing here. But just a really brief overview. This presentation today, it's going to be a little short. We have it broken up kind of into two trainings. So next week on our next training, we'll kind of go through a screen share of how to do this and how to transfer these email blasts into Message Center. Additionally, there's another tool that I'm sure most of you are familiar with, Canva, which Canva you can create some really good graphics from, and it's a big part of these email templates in Mailchimp. So we'll go over kind of an example of how to go through these on Tuesday. So it'll go through a screen share of creating a Mailchimp and loading in some information or some images from Canva. If you want to go to the next. So 3 steps to really making an effective email blast. You want to spend time, make a really awesome template, and this is just by thinking about what you see in your email blast that you get sent, whether it's from a company that like Best Buy or Starbucks or something where you're getting. Is it something you're at? Sorry, looked like I got muted there for a second. You want to go through and make sure that you have an actual message. So cultivating a strong campaign, sending out an email blast for a new special or something that's going on for a resident event. It can't just be, like an email blast about a floor plan. If you're running low on that floor plan and you have limited availability, that's a good email blast to make, and that has a campaign behind it versus just sending, like, hey, here's our B4 2-bedroom, like sign a lease today. That's not really going to get any engagement, and that's not going to be something that someone's going to actually open up and follow links on. And then lastly, Mailchimp's a really, really great tool, and it's free for anyone to use. So, if you guys have not signed up for it, you're able to. It does cost if you subscribe, if you add more subscribers over a certain limit. But what we really want to use Mailchimp for is to create these templates and integrate them in with Entrada and send them out through Message Center. This is an example of an email blast that was sent out. It was created in Mailchimp and it was sent out through Message Center. So it's kind of broken up. This is actually one long email, so when you see it, you'll scroll through. But this is a really great example of, they just started leasing. We have some information about the floor plans, the rates. You have click-through buttons on here. And we also include information about social distancing, which, obviously right now, these email blasts are such a big key part of all the information we're getting out to everybody. that's probably something you want to include in every one of your email blasts about how we're able to still assist our prospects or our residents by, they can call in for a virtual tour, or they can live chat, follow us on social media, how they can get those messages out. But this is just a really good example of one that's on brand. They pretty much include everything we want to see in an email blast. And it's kind of has that good campaign right behind it of now leasing, the rate starting at $13.80. Click here to lease now so you have your call to action. But this is a really good example. We can include this too. We have a few examples that we can include when we send out the information to you guys. But it's, this is a really good point of reference. So for those of you who haven't used Canva, it's a really awesome tool. I'm sure most of you have. Are you guys able to hear me okay? Okay, perfect. So Canva is a really great tool for everyone to use if you haven't. You're able to, create images. You're able to do some unique things like you can see to the right with the text where they have some images laid in between them and behind them. So it's a really awesome free tool as well, but we have to be careful with Canva because sometimes, and like we showed in our social media presentation, that some people can get a little too wild with Canva, and we don't want to just have all Canva images. Just like in Mailchimp, we don't want to just only have images in the body or our email blast. It has to be, a little bit of text, a little bit of links, a little bit of images as well. So utilizing Canva in Mailchimp is a great tool. You want to look at your brand guide if you have one. If you don't, it's just all about your property. Kind of as we talk through some of these other marketing items and branding and everything along those lines, it's, stick to a color package, stick to using, one logo, don't use any variations, stick to one font, and you can plug all of this into Canva as well. And this creates, such an extra part of an email blast that you can't do in anything else because you can load these images directly into Mailchimp and add them into, your overall email blast that's going to go out. So this is kind of what you're going to see as you create a template in Mailchimp. So to the right is actually, what you're going to see as an email blast that's going to go out. So when you build these and you have the content, like I said earlier, is you want to have a campaign in mind. And this one was sent, this was for a student deal, but we used it as an example. This was sent as a referral email blast. So, you have your header image, which was created in Canva. It has the logo, it has some stock images of, lifestyle images of some students, it looks like on their phones, just kind of hanging out. But you want to be consistent. They kept their brand in there, they kept their logo in there, they have, college students in there, but using a header image, and then they have their font in there as well. So it's kind of everything's on brand. But when you get down past that, they kind of have this body of text that's, that's going to be straight to the point. And that's where you're actually going to just type out everything in Mailchimp. And it's super simple. It's really, when you get into Mailchimp, it's a really easy platform to use, and it's kind of self-explanatory. But like I said, we'll go over that Tuesday as well. But they have a click to refer a friend. So that's one of the button options that you have in Mailchimp. So when you click on that, it's going to have an actual email button. Don't go for it yet, but we'll cover that. And that's a really, really awesome tool from Mailchimp that you can take over to Message Center as well. So having a call to action button in there, super important. Another note in here is don't use just images because we want to have a message in there. We want to have some information on the campaign that we're running. And sometimes even when you just do all images, that can go to someone's junk or spam mail. It'll just be filtered through. Most people are using Gmail. They have pretty strict filters on restrictions for what's coming through. And that could be one that's flagged if it's just images. So include renderings, lifestyle photos if you have them, photos of your actual site. That's what people want to see. So putting that all in there, and then, just have the basics, include your social media buttons. You're able to select the actual buttons, which you see in the top left-hand corner, and you can link those to your socials. So when they're in the email, they're able to just click on the Facebook link. It'll take you right to it. And even the links like the header and things like that, you can click to take to different spots. So your website, etc. So hit on it a little bit there, but really when you're in Mailchimp, this is one of the pages that you will see. So, linking every single photo to something, your website, if you have just an image of, your property, whether it be Arterra, Julian, Arrow, having that image go to an actual link is really important. So you can have something that says, apply now, or view our floor plans, or view our availability, and have that link to your floor plans tab, your prospect portal, or if this is being used to send any type of correspondence to your residents, you can have same things too with resident portal or paying rent, how to put in a maintenance order, just really detailed information on, what they're going to go for. And you can just include a button or a photo with a link to the actual web page that they're going to go to. So different ones, email address, kind of good examples of what you're going to link those buttons to. If you're going to do schedule a tour, refer a friend, or renewal request, which the renewals is another thing. This can go out to anyone you have on notice in Entrada. We're putting together kind of a renewal tracker that's coming out soon, some more information on renewals and how you guys can really focus in and track these. But this is another great tool for getting renewal letters to your residents, especially with everything with COVID-19. You can actually put in like renewal requests, put it as a button, and they can click on that, and it would just either pull up an email to you guys, and pretty much you can have it broken down so it has some body text in it already, and it's super simple for the resident. So don't think of this as just a prospect messaging tool. Think of it as something you can use for resident interaction, information on what's going on the site, instead of just sending those basic message center emails that just have the text. This is a way to really step that up. Web address, same thing. So that's, oops, sorry, can you go back a second, Shelby? So this is just another, a few more examples of how you can include these buttons. Your web address you can use for prospect portal, resident portal, floor plans, website. If you have a parents page, I know this is from kind of a student side, but survey, review site, these are all different areas you can use your web address. And then same thing for files, you can include like a files. So like if it's packing list, moving guide, calendar of events, where it can actually take them to that. So think of these buttons as just extensions of the email for people to kind of go through this email and click to it and move, quickly to what they want to see. So a couple best practices is, picking a catchy subject line. I think that's one where you get in the habit of doing something just super quick and super generic. And, those are the email blasts that I see in my inbox that I don't really want to read, or I delete immediately. So, this is just a few examples, but mix this in with your campaign. So if it's a special where you're running a new concession, better than Best Buy, like Black Friday special, or, exclusive VIP event, you don't want to miss this. Things along those lines are what's going to really grab someone's attention. Your gift card is ready. That'll get everybody's attention pretty simply. So make, a catchy subject line, take a little bit of extra time thinking about this stuff, and, it'll create a much better email template that's going to go out. So you also have to think about appropriate time to send. Late evening or early morning are probably the most, effective times to send these email blasts. There is reporting in Mailchimp that we have a few slides on, but, think about it as, when are you reading your emails? First thing in the morning when you wake up, you're going through your personal email to see if you got anything interesting or anything important. And then, through the day, you're working. So you're focused on your work emails, everything going on with work or, your family. And then late evening is when you're going to go back through and search through your personal emails. So sending at appropriate times, you will absolutely see, a stronger campaign and more opens if you send it early morning or late evening. And that's something you can do is you can schedule times for these emails to go out through Mailchimp. So you can have it just, start at 7 a.m. and send through 9 a.m. if you wanted to, or send it later in the evening. So super easy tool to use inside of there. We can show you guys how to do that as well. But also sending in segments, if you have a really, really large email list to send this to, you can send it in segments. For some areas, if we're able to get emails from employers or a really large email list, maybe you have a ton of prospects and you're going to send it to them. If you break that email list up, that's going to send and have a higher open rate because it can get bounced back if you're sending, if you send to 1,000 emails within 10 minutes, the email server is going to flag it and you're going to have some issues. So send it in segments. That will help your open rate as well. So Mailchimp reporting, you're able to see who opened your email the most, who clicked on your website. It's easy for you to go in and see that person's specific email, and you can click on them and follow up with them directly. If they clicked on, the floor plans page from your email blast, that's someone that you could go through, send a separate email to, say, we know you're interested in our B2 floor plan. Would you like to come in for a tour? Would you like to take, a virtual FaceTime tour? We can give you all the information for that. You can also see who manually unsubscribed, basically people like that you're going to know are not interested. Same thing for if this is going out to your residents. If they unsubscribe, you want to make sure that you have a list of those residents. So if you're sending any correspondence via email, you're going to want to have a separate list of those people that aren't going to get those emails. So this will help you too with the reporting, like we kind of just talked about, is, when's the best time to send? Is it in the morning or in the evening? You can do a couple different rounds to see, when your prospects are opening this up or when your residents are opening this up. So the reporting is a really great tool to use. Once you send your first email, don't resend it to those who didn't open your last one. You can actually filter a list of those who didn't open it, and you can pull those emails out and resend them that same email the next day. So if they didn't get it, you can try resending it to them one time. We don't obviously want to spam them, but if they didn't open it, maybe it went to their junk or went to their spam, we can try one more time and see if it goes just by replicating your campaign that you had and pulling those emails out and sending it to them. So there's kind of instructions there, but we can go over that as well on Tuesday. But it's just a really good way of kind of ensuring that everyone's getting it. Hopefully it'll make it through that second time. And you don't want to resend it to someone that's already opened it if it's going to be the same exact campaign. So this is an example of one of the reports from an email that was sent out. So you can see kind of around like 5 p.m., it looks like everything spiked as far as, what was open for these emails. So this is just in the platform of Mailchimp. It's really great. You can see how many people opened it, how many people actually clicked on links, the successful deliveries. Now this was probably to a university email list with a number of how many went out. So you can see how many bounced, how many unsubscribed. It's a really, really great report. But this is what I would look at for, when should I send these email blasts? It looks like everyone opened it up like right around 5:30. So you want to hit your key target right around that time. This is kind of a second part of that report as well. You can see what the top links clicked were. So that is just the application. So 42 people clicked on the prospect portal, the application page. It looks like 15 people clicked on the floor plan layouts. So you can actually see, how many people are going to these links. If you have one in there that you put that no one clicked on, obviously in your next email, you're probably going to want to take that one out. I would then move the application link up to the top of the page, have the layouts at the top of the page. This is all information that you're going to take that you can create your next email template with, and essentially make a better one just from the information we get from the report from your first email blast. So you can also see the subscribers with the most opens. Typically if they're going through and they're looking at it, they're going to click through a few different links, or they'll come back to it a little bit later. But it's just a really great tool for you to go through and use for your next email. So there's pros to both. Mailchimp, really what we want to just use this for, and we went through those reports. You can absolutely send emails through Mailchimp to prospects and residents, but it's much simpler to utilize just one platform, right? So if we can just create these email templates in Mailchimp and transfer them over to Message Center, it's not only can you see them in your communication log, you can really filter lists specific, just like you can in your leads tab. Anything for co-signers, anything for just specific floor plans, you can break it down that much. Versus Mailchimp, you just have like one list of people that you can send to, and you can't break it up over that way. You can after you've sent a campaign, but it's going to be one list versus Entrata gives us a few different options of how we can send these. So you can also upload these templates as quick responses. So if someone starts an application, we can have a really, really clean email design template that's immediately sent to them that we created through Mailchimp and loaded in the Message Center. So we'll go through it. You can do it through an image by taking your email from Mailchimp to Message Center, but you can also do an HTML code, which you can take over, which is a little bit more confusing to just talk through. So we're going to show you guys on Tuesday, but think about this as Mailchimp is where you're going to go to design your email blasts. Message Center is where you're going to go and you're going to send it out. So just a few things not to forget. Any large email blast, this is something that's going out to a lot of people. So you want to make sure you have it reviewed by your R&D or your regional before you send. It's definitely something where we don't want it to be sent out with typos. You don't want it to be sent out with broken links. So, check all the links. You can send a few test emails to yourself, send it to a few of your coworkers, and try a personal email as well to make sure that it's going through to your Gmail or your live email servers. But check the links, make sure everything works. You can preview your template and your code, which is if you're going to do an HTML. Check your recipient list carefully. You don't want to have anyone in there that's unsubscribed that may have gotten back in. If you have that unsubscribed list, that's something you want to check carefully because you don't want to get kind of flagged for spam, because that can hurt the email that it's coming from. If someone does email you back and ask you to be unsubscribed, do it. Just make sure that you go in, and it's super simple to remove them out. Same thing with your leads in Entrata. If someone asks, not to be contacted anymore, we're going to cancel them out and make that. You do want to check looking at mobile versus computer because it is going to show a little bit differently. So go through, send a test email, look at it on your phone, look at it on your computer, but you want to make sure that it's cohesive and basically the images are going to line up on both platforms. And just think that these emails, it doesn't replace the rapport and customer service. This is just an additional tool that we can use. We want you guys to utilize this. We want it to be something that everyone gets familiar with, because it does create that additional step to your branding and another tool for you guys to use marketing wise and for your residents. But this should never replace anything. If we're doing renewals, we want to send out these renewal emails, but you also should be doing door knocks, delivering letters, talking to your residents. Same thing with your prospects. If you're sending out an email about a floor plan, you want to make sure that you're also picking up the phone and calling that prospect and saying like, hey, you may have received an email about the special that we have on our B2s. Just wanted to call and talk through that with you, see if you're available to do a tour, a FaceTime tour, or come in for a tour when all this is over. So don't use this as just a way to do some quick follow-ups. Think of it as a very important tool that you can use that's, going to help your brand and help your property. And you guys will definitely see some really great results from these. So I know it was a little short. We are going to go pretty in depth on Tuesday as well of how you guys can go through and actually do this, do a screen share, kind of more like a Q&A. And we'll show you Canva as well if you haven't used it. But, you know, it's something that if you haven't signed up, go in and sign up for Mailchimp. You can play around in it. It's a really, really great tool, like I said. It's super user friendly, so it's kind of just plugging and playing. But we'd love for you all to be using these when you send out email blasts because it creates a much better email versus just having that text that goes out in the message center. So let me really quick put the link to that video in there as well. Shelby, anything else to add on Mailchimp?
No, everything else I have is going to be what we cover on Tuesday, where we can go more in depth and actually show everyone what they'll be seeing from their end.
Awesome. Well, does anyone have any questions? I know, like I said, we're going to go over it Tuesday as well and kind of do a little bit more of a screen share. I just put that video link in the chat box as well. So, like I said, definitely check that out. That's coming from, you know, a really motivational speaker just talking about brand and reputation, which I think is really important to what we do today. But happy to answer anyone's questions that you guys have on Mailchimp today. And sorry if we're breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with my computer. I'm a little under the weather, so tough if I'm sorry if I'm a little hard to understand today. Good question, Chassie. Let me put the link in here for you guys. I just put the link in there. It's just mailchimp.com. You know, you can just go in there, sign up, create one for your site, and you know, I would share that login with everyone on your property that's going to use it. But these should always go through, you know, the property manager, community manager on site to make sure they get their eyes on it. Like I said, if it's a large email blast as well, make sure you have your R&D or your regional approve it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for your time today. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.